I'd like to welcome everyone to Microsoft Excel Honors, and I am officially your instructor, Mr. Bennett. And I'll go ahead and tell you why I use the word officially. By now, you know that I am going to be out on medical leave, possibly the entire semester, and at least through Thanksgiving. My mother has recently passed away after fighting a long, rare disease, and there's just a lot of family matters to deal with right now, especially since I'm the only remaining child. So that is why I'm not with you. I'm here in Nashville taking care of my family matters and taking care of my dad, who fortunately I still have, but he's 78 years old and not necessarily in poor health, but not in the best of health as well. So that is why I'm going to be out this semester. And do want everyone to know that a couple years ago when we were fully remote, I had several students that went through and actually did everything in this course that I'm wanting you to do. And so it's very possible, and you will have some resources available to you to help you, even though I will not be there in a classroom with you. So I wanted to go ahead and, first of all, just real quick, I want to show you my picture so you could put a name to a face. That's me. I didn't want to record the video of me making this because it just adds to the size and complexity when it comes to editing the video, but I thought you at least want to put a face to a voice and a name. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this course. Again, this is Microsoft Excel, and I am already here. I'm at the student view within this course. If you go into Canvas and click the button for this course, it'll take you to this home page. It'll look very, very similar to this. Again, this is student view, which is what teachers have, so we can make videos like this, and students can see, so that I can see exactly what students will see. All right, so what are you going to learn how to do in Microsoft Excel? Well, Microsoft Excel is a very in-demand software program, especially in the state of North Carolina. And in this course, you're going to learn how to use Microsoft Excel, which you can earn a highly recognized industry certification that will be wonderful for helping you to get a job or a career. And the difference between a job and a career is a job is something generally that you're willing to do short-term. Career is something you're really wanting to do more on a long-term basis. And it is very possible that you can also earn college credit for this course. And again, that kind of depends upon where you go to college and what you're majoring in. But some of the basic uses of Microsoft Excel could include just basic data entry, or to analyze data, to look for trends in data over time, accounting purposes, to keep up with a basic balance sheet or financial information. As is mentioned here, financial analysis, where you can look at multiple options. For example, you can look at if you've got so much money to spend, what's your best option among two or more options? Which one's the best, will give you the most money? Programming, you can do a little bit of programming with Microsoft Excel. We won't do much in this course. You could also do things like time management and task management, so you could clearly organize your time and the tasks that have got to be completed. Financial modeling is something that's interesting. There's actually a Financial Modeling World Series, I think it's called now, that's actually carried on ESPN, not necessarily on the main network, but it is definitely carried through their online platform. So it kind of goes along with e-gaming and whatnot. And also database management and even art. And you can click this link here, and I've got it linked to a website where there's this person who has honestly just way too much time on his hands, and he creates art using Microsoft Excel. So this course, it's actually broken into two levels. There's an associate level and then there's an expert level. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I am certified as an expert, and I can also tell you that I do not know everything there is to know about Microsoft Excel. It's just such a vast program that you learn over time, and the more you use it, the better at it that you get. So typically this course, now this video is being made for first semester. You may be watching this video in second semester, but the associate level, it would be expected that by the end of the first quarter of the semester, whether it be quarter one or quarter three, that you go through the basic introduction of Microsoft Excel. You're going to learn how to manage worksheets and workbooks, how to format cells to change their physical appearance, how to manage tables and range data, how to create formulas and functions, and that one right there is really the key element of Microsoft Excel. Visualizing data, meaning creating charts and graphs and things of that nature, and also preparing to print and checking for any issues that a workbook or a worksheet might have. Now, in the second or fourth quarter, depending upon what semester you're taking this, the tasks become more challenging. You're going to do some more intricate managing and formatting of data using advanced formulas and functions with Microsoft Excel, including nested functions, where basically there is a function that contains another function. Validating and auditing data, basically that is where you can make sure that basically you're trying to prevent errors from being entered into a cell. Even further analyzing of data, creating simple macros, which is basically automated tasks within Excel. So if there's something you have to do a lot, you can create a macro. And using pivot tables and pivot charts, which is basically large pieces of data that gives you a lot more functionality in terms of the calculation of the data and what you do with it, and how it's displayed, and things of that nature. And also just collaborating with other people, because in a lot of cases nowadays, it's best just to take a file and put it somewhere on the web or on a network where multiple people can have access to it, and maybe you want them to only be able to see it, and maybe you want them to be able to edit it. So you have to learn different levels of collaboration with other people. Now, note down here at the bottom in green, it says in this course, it's easy to get behind and it is hard to get caught up. And it really is. So you definitely do not have time to waste. This program is a very vast program in terms of its capabilities. And one of the things that you just absolutely cannot do is to ever think that you are done. So you need to make sure in this class that you always do the next thing on the in TestOut, which we'll get to here shortly, and that you, again, just do not waste your time. And note down here that I've even indicated you are only done when you have earned the Excel Expert certification. Now, I do want you to understand something. I did have some students this very last semester. I had two students that they were done with the entire course during the first week of the fourth quarter. I had them in the spring, so we're talking about quarter three and quarter four. They were done with both the associate level and expert level and passed both certification exams with extremely high scores here in the first week of the fourth quarter. And because of that, I'll admit, essentially for the last 8 weeks of the school year, they really didn't have anything to do. This is not one of those courses where I'm trying to keep you busy for the sake of keeping you busy, although there is so much that could actually be learned about this program. I can always give you more practice opportunities to learn the program, to become even more proficient with it. But in my book, when you have earned your Microsoft Excel Expert certification, then and only then are you done with the course. So down here, when you look at this, I do want to come down here and click on this grading button. My grading is pretty simple. This TestOut program that we're going to be using, all your grades will come from that, and we will be following the grading policies for Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools and for the CTE department here at Myers Park. And again, all of the grades are going to come from your TestOut activities, and we will take a little bit closer look at those shortly. Basically, your prepare grades will come from skills lab activities that are in TestOut, and I will give you full credit for completion. The rehearse grades will come from the challenge lab activities in TestOut, and the highest score will be recorded. Now, if I record a score and you go back and you do it again, you get a higher score. It is your responsibility to make sure that I am aware of that I've actually recorded that higher score. Your perform grades will be done a little bit different. Those will come from your applied lab activities in TestOut, and only the total combined average per section of the applied lab activities will be recorded. And I'll show you more about that later on. I do want you to know that these certification exams are on a 1,000-point scale. And passing is 700 out of 1,000, so it's 70%. I cannot do anything to change that. And that will be for the midterm and for the final exam. So the midterm coming after the first or third quarter, and the final exam will be toward the end of the second and the fourth quarter. Now, I do want to point out to you, if you pass your certification exam but you don't have an A average, and it is possible to pass the certification exam, and when I put in all of your grades that your average is less than an A, just know that if you pass a certification exam, I don't care what your average actually is, I will do a manual override and make sure that your overall average is an A. And do know that the only grade that actually shows up on your official transcript is the final score for the entire course. Okay? So just keep that in mind, because I definitely don't want to cheat anyone out of the credit that I feel that they are due. And again, this is an honors level course, so you will get an extra 0.5 points onto your GPA for taking this course, because again, it's an honors course, and as you probably know about honors courses, they tend to be a little bit more challenging, and this is definitely a more challenging class. I do want to come over here real quick and just show you under the assignments link over here. I just want to point out I've only got one assignment that I'm going to post for this course in Canvas, and it's this one right here, and it simply says Test Out. And the assignment says complete the next Microsoft Excel activity and test out. There's really no need for me to go and put anything into Canvas because, again, you're going to be working at your own pace. As a matter of fact, if you would look at the course description for Microsoft Excel for colleges, even Charlotte, you're going to find that those courses, they don't meet a set class schedule kind of the way you do even in high school. Basically, you do most of it on your own, and the instructor has set office hours to go visit that instructor and get help when you need it. But this is definitely something you're going to be doing on your own. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to say this needs to be due this day, do this one by this day. Basically, all you need to do is pass the associate exam by the end of the first quarter of the semester, and then pass the expert exam by the end of the second quarter of that semester, whether it be quarter two, or quarter four. I don't even have anything over here under syllabus because, again, everything is about learning the software program and passing these certification exams. And we've already talked about grades and things of that nature. So the next thing I want to come over and point out to you is the announcements, and that's what we're going to need to get started in TestOut. Now, because I'm on leave, there's going to be some other people that can post to my class page, and You've probably, by the time you watch this video, you've probably already done this career exploration activity. And part of the reason why we wanted to do this is because the first week of school, schedule changes happen so often that it's very hard to get too far into learning, because then I would have to go back and redo so many other things. And as I look at my current rosters, I see that there are a lot of changes that have already been made to my roster. And as I make this video, we're only in the second official day of school. I'm making this video on August the 30th, as you can probably see down here looking in the lower right corner of the video. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and click this link for joining the TestOut course. And this is basically an email invitation where what you're going to need to do is to click this link or copy and paste this link that you see right here. Now, I actually have to copy and paste it to show you what I want to show you. And I'm going to copy it first, and I selected it, I right-clicked it, and I went to copy. And before I paste this into a new screen, I do want to point out to you my note here to you in red. Notice that when you go to actually create your account, use your CMS credentials to make this easy on all of us. It's going to ask you for a student ID. Use your CMS student ID as your username. Use your birthday in this format, 4 digits for the year, 2 for the month, 2 for the day. Use that as your password. And to make things easy on me, especially since I'm not going to see you in person very often, please use your legal first and last name as it appears in PowerSchool, and also use your CMS email address. And again, that'll make things easy on me because I won't be able to put a name to a face. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up a guest tab here in Google Chrome, and I'm going to paste that link that I just copied, and then I'm going to hit enter. And when you do that, it's going to take you and ask you, do you want to create an account or do you already have an account? Now, a couple of you might already have an account from last year, and you're welcome to use that, but most of you will not have an account, so you're going to need to come over here and click create account. Now, remember what I said? I want you to use your username. I want you to use your student ID number. And I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to just say S. Bennett. And my son is named Steven. So instead of a student ID number, and he's not a student in this district anymore, so I'm just going to use S. Bennett 2018 just as the username. Now remember, I want you to use your student ID number, then your password. I'm going to put in his birthday, and you can't see it. And it's looking like it may not let me take that, so I might have to come back and change. I'm going to add a little bit more to the end of that. All right, so again, when you go to create a password, even though I'm telling you what to put in, it may not let you put that in. So the main thing is you need to remember whatever password you put in. Make sure you remember. Ultimately, do I care what you select? No, I don't. Now, for your first name, please make sure that you put in a first name and last name as it appears on my roll in PowerSchool. That'll make entering grades much easier for me. And then I'm going to come down to this email field. And again, use your CMS email address. Now, I'm even wondering as I go through this, I'm going to put in an old email address that I don't even use anymore, just in case this makes me go and verify my account. I've had this email address for years. Again, I want you to put in your school email address. Mobile phone, just leave that blank, and then come over here, and before I create an account, I'm going to go over and we're going to take a look at this again. And so now that I've signed in, I was going to do something a little bit different, and I guess my fingers accidentally touched something and it submitted that. So let me put in this password. And it's not looking like it's going to work for me. So I'm going to pause the video and go back and redo what I just did. All right, so now I'm back, and like I said, I had to go back and pause the video and redo that because my fat finger evidently touched the wrong key on my laptop keyboard. So here it puts in password recovery settings, and again, you know, they're asking for a mobile phone. I don't really want you to do that. So on this, just say no thanks if you get this message. All right, so when you get this, it's going to sign you in here, and it's going to show you that this is the course here for Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, and over here is the link for the course itself. So you would come over here and you'd click this link, and it's going to take you into the course. Now, what I want to do is I want to spend a little bit of time talking with you about this and just kind of give you an idea of what you're going to be doing and how to use this software. Now, first of all, here you see this text on this page. And so again, it's just text directions. So it's just a matter of reading this. And if you really want to print this out, you can print it out, although probably the computers in the classroom are not set up to print. So it just gives you some text directions. So then what you would do is you'd come over here and you'd click this arrow, and then you would go to the next screen. Now, this next screen over here, it is a video, and I always like to play these videos with the interactive scripts. So if you click this link right here, it's going to show you a video.
Microsoft Office is the world's most widely used office productivity software. It's used by businesses, schools, and individuals.
As the video is playing,
that many employers require all of their employees to know how to use it.
Is automatically highlighted because that's showing you where you're at in the video.
Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access.
Now I'm going to skip ahead to Excel. See, I can come over here and just click right here, and it will fast forward to that part of the video. And I just paused it because I wanted you to see how you can click in the text in the interactive script, and it'll take you straight to that part of the video. And then when you resume the video,
where data is organized into rows and columns. They can be used to store and organize information as well as perform complex calculations.
All right, so I wanted to pause that video because the next thing that I wanted to do is once this screen is done, you could click on this arrow and it'll take you to the next page, and it may be another video, it may be another page of text directions, and in this case it is another video where they are introducing you to Microsoft Excel. And then once you watch that video, you would come over here and click that arrow again, and then it would show you the next page in the Excel lesson. And again, this is just text. So then click the arrow again, it's going to give you the next page. Click the arrow again, gives you the next page. In this case, it's a video with an interactive script. And you can watch it and it'll tell you more about the Excel course. And then here, course overview, notice it tells you that you are preparing for the associate exam and the expert exam. And by the way, we have additional resources besides TestOut if you need it. So again, this gives you more information, more specific information about what you're going to be doing in learning about Microsoft Excel. And again, click the arrow, it takes you to another text page giving you course objectives. This one we could skip, tip for Mac users, but if you got a Mac at home, you certainly could use that. Talks about the simulated labs. Now, this is where you're actually going to be practicing in Microsoft Excel, and I do want you to understand you're going to be using you're not really using Microsoft Excel. You're going to be using a very good simulation of Microsoft Excel, but you're not actually using Excel. And I have used this in the past, and I do think this is a very good program for students to learn on, especially under the circumstances. So again, I'm just going to go to the next page. They give you some keyboard shortcuts. I actually want to stop this for a moment. I want to come up here and click this button and show you what this looks like. So there's a course overview. This course is broken down into all these different chapters. And I'll be honest with you, some of you could probably skip chapter 1 and chapter 2. It kind of depends upon how familiar you are with Microsoft Office software, whether it be Excel, Word, or PowerPoint, because you basically get these first 2 chapters are going to be the same regardless of whether or not you are doing Excel, Word, or PowerPoint. Now, obviously, if you're watching this video, you're learning how to use Microsoft Excel. But basically, all these green check marks that you see here indicate that you have completely gone through that page and looked at it. Now, the ones with the videos on here, if you don't go through and watch the entire video, or at least fast forward to the end, you won't have a check mark. So it'll show you what you have not done. And again, you see the icon that looks like it's got 2 dots and 2 lines on it. That indicates that this page is a text page. It's got text directions and maybe screenshots. And then the videos kind of look like the YouTube icon that we're so familiar with. I just want to skip ahead to chapter 3 because that's where this class really starts. And chapters 3, 4, 5 is basically where you're going to learn how to do everything that is covered on the associate level exam and would need to be done by the end of the first quarter of the semester. And then your practice exam opportunities would be here in chapter 6. So if you come over here, again, you see these links that we've got available. Here again, you know that this has got a video on it because it's got the icon. It looks like a YouTube. Here you see text files. Again, you can look at this icon and know that this is just a page of text. And then down here, you've got these activities that have a mouse on it. And those are the ones that your grades come from. These are your activities where you actually practice using Microsoft Excel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip straight ahead to this, and I'm going to show you what these practice activities look like. And again, notice that there's Skills Lab, Challenge Lab, and Applied Lab. And if you go back and you look in your here, let me come back here and just remind you of your grades. I want to go back. I want to go back to the home page, and I want to click this link, and I want to come back down here and show you your grading again. Your grades are going to come from the prepare grades are basically going to be completion activities. So I'm essentially giving you, I think it's 20% of your grade. Rehearse grades will come from the challenge lab activities, and then perform grades are going to come from your applied lab activities. So let's go back and take another look at that again. So again, here are the skills lab, challenge lab, and applied lab. So let's start looking at these. I want to show you how these are set up. So I'm going to come down here and click start. Of course, you'll want to read this. It gives you a little bit of an introduction. Now, on the skills lab activities, they give you more guidance. And they just flat out tell you over here everything to do step by step. So this is loading. Now, by the way, remember when I said this is a simulation. So this is not really Microsoft Excel, but a very good simulation. So what they're telling you to do over here, step 1, you got 8 tasks available. It says insert a new blank workbook at the end of the workbook. Now, I know there's multiple ways to do this. And one way to do it is just to click this little button right here. And that is a new blank worksheet. Now, because of I clicked that, you see where it put it. It's not at the end of the workbook. So I would need to click, hold, and drag this worksheet over to the right. You saw that little arrow move. And then it says to delete the new worksheet. So I know to do that by right-clicking this worksheet tab and going to delete. And then here I'm going to click delete. and then I'm going to get this notification, good job, task completed. Now, because I did it correctly using one of the methods that you could use to do it correctly, it's going to let me go on to the next task. So when I click that button, it's going to open up the next page. It says to save the employee's worksheet in the documents folder as a PDF file. So it says save the employee's worksheet. Well, down here is the employee's worksheet. So the first thing that I need to do is to click on that employee's worksheet. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and I'm going to be honest with you. I do think that sometimes this, because it's a simulation, they're looking for you to do this a particular method, and the method that they're looking for you to use may not be the method that you would immediately think of, and that's not a big deal because the goal is to learn all these different methods. So in this case, it says to save the employee's worksheet. So I know to save only this worksheet, not both worksheets, but this one worksheet. I can go to File, and there's a couple different ways to do this. Now, because it says to save the employee's worksheet, I want to go to Save As, because they're telling me to give it a specific name and save it in a specific location. So I need to go to Save As, and they want me to save it in the Documents folder, which to find the Documents folder, I have to go under Browse. So here's the Documents folder, file name. They're telling me to save it as PDF. That's the file name. We're in the Documents folder. And then the file type. This is where you would go to change it to say PDF. You want to save it in the PDF format. So now if I go to click Save, and by the way, just notice up here, they don't give us an actual file name. I changed the file name. It may or may not count this as wrong, and it didn't. So I actually did a little bit more here than what I needed to. And because of that, I still did what they asked me to do, but you would need to try to do exactly only what they tell you to do. Then here it says to rename the sales data worksheet as sales data. So I know to rename a worksheet, I want to right click this tab. I'm going to rename. And then I can just come down here and take out that underscore and then hit enter. And then it tells me good job, task complete. All right. Now, for the sake of keeping this video as short as possible, I'm not going to go through the remaining tasks. And again, remember, these things that you just saw me to do, you will learn as part of the course. I just want to come over here and click Score Lab. And it's going to show me whether or not I got them wrong by giving me red X's. In this case, I didn't attempt those, but so they're still wrong. But then I got green checks for those that I did correctly. And it tells me my score. Again, remember, I didn't complete the entire thing, so I just want to click Done. And one of the things that's good about this is that you could go back and start this activity that we just did. You could start it over. Maybe you started it late in the course or late in the day, I should say, and you don't have enough time to do everything. So you could come over here and click Start Lab again, and you can do it. You could start over. And then, or if you were just looking to improve your score, again, you could click Start Lab and start it over. And as I indicated to you previously, I'm going to always give you the highest score. So again, I want to click Start Lab. And this is actually something that's new. It used to not really give you this screen, and you could just start it completely over, or you could just pick up where you left off. Now, for the sake of my video, again, I don't really need to do that, period, so I'm just going to close this out. And again, note that those activities that I just showed you, the skills lab, those count as that first category of grades, which would be your prepare grades. So those skill labs will be your prepare grades, and those will be based upon completion. All right, so then the next one is a challenge lab. Now, on the challenge lab, they give you a little bit less guidance. On the skills lab, they pretty much tell you step by step how to do something. So that's kind of hard to not get a perfect score on. But over here on the challenge lab, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to click Begin. And here it says, move the employee's worksheet to the first position. All right, so I know how to do that. And there's a couple different ways to do it. I just want to click, hold, and drag this worksheet tab over here. Then you see when I let go that it's just going to automatically tell me that I got it right. Go to the next task. Here they're telling me to open a new blank workbook. All right, so I know to do that, I go to File and Open. And then it's telling me, let me go back actually, Workbook. So it'll be File. Oh, I'm sorry, New. I'm sorry, Open. Again, my brain is a little bit behind. New blank workbook, New. So I need to go to New and not Open. And then here's a blank workbook, so I click on that, and then good job, task completed. All right, so this next one, let's say I didn't know how to do this. It says change the color of the employee's worksheet tab. All right, I could come down here and click Hint, and it would tell me how to do it. Okay, now I knew how to do this, but let's say I didn't. So then I'll go in, and then I could follow the directions, and it says color of my choice. Notice how it says task completed with help, no points awarded. So I want to come back here and, even though I did it right, I had to have help. And so I got to go on to the next task. So now this one, it says save the current workbook in the documents folder. So I'm going to File, Save As, Workbook. I want to save it in the documents folder. So I'm looking in documents. And it says to save it in the default format, so I don't change that. It doesn't tell me to change the name or anything, so I'm just going to click Save. It says it already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes. All right. Now, notice how it didn't tell me that, hey, you did it correctly. Okay. And part of the issue on this one is that I didn't save the entire workbook. Come down here and click Hint. Notice it says go to File, Save As, and it says Excel Workbook from the type. Okay. And then it says to enter a file name. Now that's something else that I'll admit the software sometimes is a little tricky, where the directions aren't always as good as I would like them to be for my students. So basically it says to enter a file name. Now the directions up here doesn't tell me to enter a file name. I just went with the default name that was already there. So to get this correct, I'm going to have to go in and enter the file name. So what I want to do is, by the way, I can also have chosen to skip this task for now, or then I can reset the task to basically start over. So I'm going to go to File and Save As, and then it says this PC. And again, when I'm looking at this, it's looking for a very specific method to complete this. And by the way, this is why I always give you the highest score, because I don't think it's fair to my students where if it's looking for you to do it a particular manner to be counted correct, but you do know a manner in which to do it and it's still correct, but just not the one they're looking for. That's why I always go back and give you the highest score. That's also why when you pass the certification exam, I just do a manual override and just make sure you've got an A in the course. So here I've got file name. I can leave it as it is. I'm going to just put the number 1 at the end of it. And I got to put it right before that .xls. Save as type. It's a workbook. So now I just want to click Save. And again, that's one. It's not giving me where it's saying it's correct. So for the time being, I'm just going to skip this task. And again, sometimes this happens with the software because, again, they're looking for a particular way of you doing it. So this one I just showed you earlier. I'm just going to right click. I'm going to rename this. I'm always looking for this little window right here. add a new worksheet at the end of the workbook. Notice I used a method that worked, so it was good. Didn't matter which method I used in this case. Sometimes it does, most times it does not matter what method. All right, here it says using the data tab on the ribbon, import the data CSV file from the downloads folder. Okay, so data. And again, you're going to learn how to use all this data. Don't worry that you don't know how to use this, or at least that you don't know how to do these things yet. That's what you're in class for. You'll learn all this stuff. So I did that one correct. Here it says to open a file from the downloads folder. Sales read. Now this one, again, you're going to learn how to do all these things in class. And it's very important for you to watch all of these videos that lead up to these activities, so you'll learn these things. And again, on that one, you see that it did not give me the message to indicate that I did it correctly, although I know I did it correctly. So again, this software, again, it's not perfect. And again, that's why I'm willing to let you go back and use whatever method it is that they want you to use, because the main thing is to know how to use it in reality and pass the certification exam. So again, I do want you to understand this software that we're using, TestOut, it's not perfect. It's really good, but it's not perfect. And I readily admit that. So just remember, pass the certification exam, you're going to get an A. Nothing else will matter. So I want to go ahead and close this out. Because this is the last task, I want to click Score Lab. And here it'll show me, what I got right and what I didn't get right, and then maybe something that I didn't complete or something of that nature. But it gives me a score, and that is the score that I would put in Power School. And again, don't worry so much about your scores, because the main thing is to know how to do these things and pass the certification exam. And again, you're going to get an A. I know it's about the third time I've seen this, that I've said it. So I'm going to click Done. Now remember, those count as your rehearse grades. So the challenge activities will count as your challenge grades. All right, so then the perform grades come from the applied labs, like you see here. And here they give you almost no guidance and no help. Because after you do these a couple times, the idea is that you know these activities, you know how to do these things. So here you see all 5 tasks all at once. Notice there's no hint button or nothing. So it says to open the budget workbook from the documents folder. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to open a file. I'm going to look in the documents folder. It's over here. It's called Excel Budget. And there's a couple different ways to find that file, and I just picked this one. So here's the file. It says reverse the order of the October and November worksheet. So basically they're wanting you to move these, and it doesn't matter if you move October to the left or November to the right. It says place a copy of the November worksheet at the end of the workbook. So I got to make a copy. There's a couple different ways to do that. You're going to learn how to use it, how to do it in this course. I just right-clicked, and I want it at the end. And I got to be sure to click create a copy, because it told me to make a copy. Then it says change the color of the December worksheet tab to a new color. And I skipped the end of the previous step. It said to take this worksheet that we just created and name it December. And then they tell us to change the color. Now in December, I think of red and green, so I'm going to just make this worksheet tab color red. And then it says to save the changes, and all I got to do is come up here and click the save button. Now I've done all 5 tasks. It tells me to click the score lab button. It's going to tell me that I got all 5 of them right, which essentially that's your test right there. So on the test, you just got a perfect score. And what I have to do with these applied labs, because of the CMS grading policy, I have to take these and I have to combine them. And so all of your applied lab activities, you know, if they were worth a total of 32 points and you got 30 of them, I'd put in 30 out of 32, which is 90 some odd percent. So that's where your grades would come from. So basically, when you go through all of this, you're going to get a lot of practice, and then I'm going to get a feel for how you're doing at that point, and then we'll start talking about taking practice exams for to learn to prepare for the real certification exam, and that'll be another video. Now, that is the basis of how you're going to learn in this class, but the next thing that I want to talk to you about ever so briefly is how you can best communicate with me. I'm going to still use a guest tab, and I want to go to office.com. And I'm going to let this load. Now, by the way, if you don't have Microsoft Office on your computer at home, you can install it on your computer at home and use it as long as you're a student in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. But the main thing I want to show you how to use is Microsoft Teams. So if you come over here and click Sign In, it's going to take you to a screen like this, and you're going to need to sign in. Now, this is a little bit different. All right, notice the format of how to sign in to your Microsoft accounts. It's very similar to your Google accounts that you're used to, but note that all of your Microsoft accounts include the word student. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's remove the student. Again, I've not thought about this too much the last several months as I've been out on leave to care for my family, so my brain is a little bit fried. This is your Microsoft account. It does not include student. So for your Microsoft accounts, it'd be your student ID number at cms.k12.nc.us. Okay, and then you're going to go put in your password, and then your password would be 4 digits for the year you were born, 2 for the month, and 2 for the day. So when you get in to your account, when you get signed in, now I want to show you what my account looks like. Now I'm already signed in, and it's going to let me skip some of those screens, and I'm going to have a whole lot more on my screen than what you've got. But the one I really want you to see right here is Microsoft Teams. So if you need me, if you need individual help from me, you'll have to make an appointment with me, or at least you'll need to contact me through Microsoft Teams. And you can use the web version of Microsoft Teams. And we're going to let this load. And basically, you're just going to need to find me. Now, as I'm making this video and I look at my rosters, I notice that there is a couple of familiar names of students that I have taught in the past. And I'm going to pick one of those students, their name, when this loads. And I'm going to show you how you can exchange a chat and how you can find me and send me a message and how I can communicate with you individually. And again, normally it doesn't take this long to go through this process. All right, so in looking at my roster, I noticed a familiar name of Noah Cobal. I also noticed a few other names in here, but so if I wanted to send Noah a message, I would go up there, I'd type his name, notice how I put last name first, and then I would find Noah. Now, because I've had Noah in the past, there's probably already going to be some chat messages that I've had with Noah. But here's Noah, and I click on his name, and here opens up a chat where you can send, where in this case, I could send Noah a message. And Noah could also search for me. And of course, if you were searching for me, Noah would have to type in Bennett. And you got to spell my name right. And then there's me, Bennett, comma, Keith N. And then you would click on my name, and then you would say, hey, Mr. Bennett, I need some help. Okay, and you would just come down here and type in, hey, Mr. Bennett, I need some help. Now, there's some additional buttons down here that are going to look familiar to you that, you know, if we ever get to the point where I need to do a video call with you, that will enable us to share screens. That way I can see what you're working on, and I can help you and whatnot. So Microsoft Teams is going to be very beneficial for us, and it will enable us to for me to give you more help than what I would, you know, give you if I wasn't on leave. Now, by the way, I do want to say one thing about being on leave, and I'm just going to be real with y'all on this. Really, I am not supposed to be doing, or I'm not required to do anything at all pertaining to my classes while I'm on leave. And I don't want y'all to take that the wrong way, but I want you to understand that I still am going to do everything I can to help you. But it does mean that you're going to have to work a whole lot more on your own. And you're also going to have to be willing to get help from me outside of your normal classroom hours. Especially those of you that I have first block. When you are starting class at 7:15 in the morning, it is 6:15 in the morning where I'm at, and there's a good chance I'm not going to be awake yet. And again, I know these circumstances are far from perfect. And again, I told you I'm on leave because my mother passed away after a lengthy illness, and I can promise you I would absolutely much rather be there with you in person. But right now, my main focus has got to be on my dad and making sure that he's okay and that he can proceed and whatnot. So I do want you to understand that I'm going to need you to be flexible, just like I'm trying to be flexible, because I still want to see you learn. I still want to see you be successful. So again, please keep that in mind. And again, don't forget about Microsoft Teams. That is the preferred method of working with me, contacting me, so that way, at the very least, we can easily share screens and I can see what you're doing and you can explain it to me. And by the way, one other thing I want you to be aware of, you can do all this on Chromebook, although it's not recommended that you do it on Chromebook. You've got those computers that are in my classroom. That's what you really need to be doing all this on. But you need to also, obviously, you need some kind of headset. I've got headsets that are in the back of the room. They should all be in there. If you can't find them, let me know, or let Ms. Byer know. Let me know, and I'll make sure that we get those headsets back there. And I believe they've got microphones built in where even during the middle of class, you know, if you were able to do this and contact me during class, and I am available during that time, you know, I could possibly help you. And again, I want you to understand, I'm getting ready to end this video because I'm having to take my dad to take care of some personal business. And this is going to be during the time where I should be in my third block class, I think. Well, yeah, I've got to go take care of my dad's personal business. So again, that's why I'm saying I need y'all to be flexible and just stay in contact with me. And again, be flexible and send me a message. Let me know that you need some help. We'll set up a time where we can spend some time together, and I can give you some guidance. Okay. And again, I want to use the word again, flexible. I need y'all to be flexible, just like I'm trying to be flexible with you. I apologize if this is a long video, but normally this is the kind of thing that I would cover in person if I was there with you. And again, this it's just impossible for me to be there right now. So I do want y'all to, again, remember, reach out to me, use Microsoft Teams. If you have any questions with anything, Ms. Michelle Byer is there on campus. She can help you. Miss Stewart, who is in the classroom across from me, she can help you a little bit, even if it's trying to get in touch with me and learning how to use Microsoft Teams. We got plenty of people there that can help you. But the main thing is just please stay in contact with me if you need help, and I will be monitoring your guidance, and I will be putting your grades in. And remember, ultimately, the only thing that matters is to pass those certification exams, because once you pass those certification exams, I don't care what the math says, and I don't care what Power School says, what your grade average is, I'm going to make sure you got an A. So remember, pass the associate level exam, you get an A for quarter 1 and 3. Pass the expert level exam, you get an A for quarters 2 and 4. And then if you pass both of those, that means you got 2 A's. If I have to do a manual override, make your final average an A. That's all that really matters, because that's all that goes into your transcript in Power School anyway. So again, please be flexible, please be patient, and please stay in contact with me. Y'all have a great day, and I hope that somehow I actually get to be there with you in person very soon.